the cloud. There it is. Okay. All right. Well, welcome and good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We're very excited about this opportunity and to be able to share a little bit about Los Angeles Southwest College with you. I know that we wanted to actually allow the Board of Governors to start, so I'll hand it over to you to kick us off.
Thank you very much for inviting us for the virtual site visit, Dr. Wan. This is the first, I understand, of the virtual site visits the board has been able to conduct since we all went under quarantine. So we very much appreciate your flexibility and your accommodation in making this work. As I mentioned, Dr. Wan, before we got this formal meeting started, we have several board members who are from LA. And what we wanted to do was make the rounds to our home colleges in person and just, develop that connection, develop that relationship. But unfortunately, we weren't able to come visit you in person before quarantine started. So very much looking forward to this, looking forward to meeting you and hearing about two topics that are very close to everyone's heart in particular, which is COVID and racial equity. So thank you very much again for accommodating us. I can see that we have several board members now on the call. So if maybe they could give a brief introduction of themselves as well.
Good morning, everyone. I want to echo my fellow board members, Ms. Hildy's comments. Thank you so much, Doctor, for allowing us to come visit. I'm really excited for this virtual tour. It's always good to see new faces during the COVID craziness. I apologize for looking a little scruffy. It's freezing in Stockton, California, where I'm from. But it's so great to come visit. And like Hildy said, I'm the voting student member on the Board of Governors. My name is Cullum O'Reilly Fitzgerald, and racial equity issues and pushing for the student perspective during this, like I said, COVID craziness has been, a challenge, but it's been a top priority of mine. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys have addressed some of the student perspective issues during COVID and how we're working towards fighting for racial justice and equity on your campus and leaning towards achieving the vision for success. So thank you so much for hosting us in our first virtual tour.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Perry. I've got two Zoom accounts and this one comes up as Jeep, so I apologize. I'll have to sort that out. I love Zoom so much. I have two accounts, not. I can attest to the fact that Colin usually shows up in a button down and a tie. I just want to let you know that Scruffy Colin is not the usual Colin that we see at our meetings. He's an excellent representative of all the students. So as Hildy said, I wish we were there in person because obviously it's much more meaningful and we get a greater sense of what you're doing. But thank you for being accommodating and setting this up. And as Hildy also said, obviously the items that are top of mind for us at the Board of Governors are racial equity and COVID, and the two are interwoven at some level at this juncture. So looking forward to getting an overview of what you do and then some specifics as to the challenges that both those issues have posed for you and what you're working to do to address them. So thank you. And I look forward to our virtual tour. Oops.
Okay. Vice Chancellor O'Brien, did you want to reintroduce yourself, or if not, we'll move forward?
Thank you very much. No, just very briefly, I'm David O'Brien, Vice Chancellor of Governmental Relations at the State Chancellor's Office. Here to learn a little bit more about the great work that you all are doing. And Chancellor, Rodriguez and I will sit in the background and stew as fellow Giants fans while all of LA gets ready to celebrate something or another.
Thank you so much. And welcome again. So, oops. So really quickly, I'll just go through. You've had the agenda, and again, we are very appreciative of this opportunity to share our college with you today. We have a very rich history embedded in social justice within South Los Angeles. We are the only community college within South Los Angeles, very deeply committed to serving our underrepresented students. And again, we're very passionate about our students, and I think you'll see that today in our presentation. Based off of the feedback we received from you, we have created an agenda, and hopefully we'll hit the topics that you're interested in, as well as give you some just overviews of what we do as an institution. And with that, I'd like to introduce our board president, Trustee Andra Hoffman.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Awan. And it's really great to be here this morning. I have to say our poor chancellor last year was forced to go to LACCD Dodger Day, and that was hard for him. And here he is faced with the Dodgers maybe winning the World Series. So thank you everyone for taking time to come and visit us. I'm Andra Hoffman. I'm president of the Board of Trustees, and I'm the only woman serving on this 7-member board. I also serve as second vice president on the CCCT board, so the Community College League trustee board. I'm second vice president currently, and I've enjoyed serving on that board as well. I'm happy to welcome you virtually to LA Southwest College. It's a shame you can't be here in person. If you've never visited the campus, please come back to visit. It's a beautiful, beautiful campus. And it's exemplar of who we are as a community college system and the kinds of students that we serve. We serve a population that even before COVID was often overlooked and underserved in higher education. This college offers opportunities to students in the community, 97% of whom are people of color, and 70% of our students are women. The school is the smallest, I'm sure you all know this, of our 9 colleges, and it really provides real options for economic advancement, and you'll hear about some of the programs that we offer today. And you'll see in this presentation that these communities surrounding Southwest College have been the hardest hit by COVID, and we're really seeing our students experiencing true economic ramifications from the pandemic. And it's hard to separate the pandemic and its effects from our enrollment decline. It's all kind of mixed together. Entire regions have been devastated by this pandemic, as we all know. And our colleges are going to be needed more than ever to help rebuild communities. And we really believe that the LA Community College District, and especially Southwest College, can aid to the economic recovery of Los Angeles County and the region. So thank you so much for being here. You're going to hear all about what we're doing, and we're just really excited to host you today. So thanks. And I'm going to turn it over to my amazing chancellor, Dr. Francisco Rodriguez. I think you're up next.
Thank you. Me unmute here. Let me extend another good morning to each of you, to our marvelous and wonderful, forward-looking, progressive Board of Governors who have joined us today. We really do view you as our partners up and down the state who help to forge capacity at our institutions and to help draw attention to not just state budget issues, but to policy issues that will ultimately impact the lives of the 2+ million students that we're proud to serve as a system. Today you get to view one of your 116 jewels. And I hope that you will be very proud of the work that is going on here. I certainly am, our board president is, and we support the work that is going on at LA Southwest. So just to build on the wonderful comments that our board president made, and thank you so much, Ms. Hoffman, for always making yourself available to us and to important bodies such as the Board of Governors that are leaning in on this discussion. Has really been framed around, if you will, a document that we have described as the framework for racial equity and social justice. Our Board of Trustees was able to approve that. We worked on that during the summer, and now we have set off a series of activities that have really allowed us to lean in to the conversation on our hiring, on ethnic studies, on student leadership development, on campus policing, on reviewing our equity, Emoja programs, those kinds of services, if you will, that have permeated our college campuses, and using the guided pathways framework, using the vision for student success, and making sure that our strategic plan, which was authorized now a couple of years ago, is in line with the overall vision for success that improves our transfers to 35%, our completions rates to 20%, and our enrollments by 10. We call it our sort of 10, 20, 30 plan around here, so that we can keep sight of that. And the good news is that we're just about there, if not already, on the completions angle. So really want to give a lot of credit to colleges like Southwest and the other 8 LAC City colleges that have really leaned in to the conversations about not just equity. It's always been part of our DNA here at LAC City, but now equity, access, and indeed completion. So we're very, very proud of that. You have an excellent program in front of you. You have our colleagues from LA Southwest College, led by their intrepid president, Dr. Sahara Wan, and my colleagues all around the screen here. These are the doers. These are the folks who are taking action, who are connecting to their communities, who are receiving their students and their community with open arms, who are building, forging partnerships. It's a college that has 2, not just 1, but 2 high schools at their college that is co-located with them. And as our board president mentioned, when you are able to attend the college, you will see not just a connection that is so beautiful to our communities that we serve there, but also a physical transformation with the investments that the district has made and the public has made at LA Southwest College, a transformation that is being fueled by a 2016 general obligation bond that was passed in this district, where we're revamping, retooling, and putting in a lot more infrastructure and technology support, of course, to address COVID and to address the educational needs of our students. You may have seen that award-winning program that KVIE Sacramento put together on California community colleges as part of the Inside Education series. And one of the segments featured the Higher LAX program of LA Southwest College. And it was just a fabulous demonstration of how this college connects to its people, to its community, and to serving the needs of the region. So proud to be here. I'll stay on as long as I can and then bounce out quietly. But I really wanted to give really esteem and support and a virtual embrace to our colleagues at Southwest College, to our board president, and to you, our board of governors that we work with. And I want you to know that you have warriors in the field that are not afraid to lean in, and LAC City is full of them. And LA Southwest is a perfect demonstration of that zeal to serve, that zeal to ensure that our communities get the kind of support that they need to be successful. We all know that education is the best indicator and accelerator of economic and social mobility. So I want you to be proud of the fact that we're the workers in the field, and we're proud to do it. Okay, so welcome again. I hope you have a good time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chancellor, and thank you again, Trustee Hoffman. We so appreciate your time and your support this morning, so thank you again. So quickly, I'm going to just acknowledge our wonderful team who's with us this morning. I will allow them to introduce themselves when they start presenting, because we have a lot of names and titles on this slide, and we have people serving in multiple roles. As you can see, we have a breadth of constituency on this campus, from alumni to students to faculty to administrators. So you will hear from all areas of our college today. And we really wanted to make it inclusive and to have a representation of who we are on this presentation. But I will allow them to introduce themselves as they start presenting, but they are here, and I want to again thank them for their efforts this morning. I also just wanted to take a moment to remember board member Alma Salazar, and I wanted to say that we're so sorry for your loss. And I know that she is here in spirit today with us. So thank you. And again, I'm very sorry for your loss. So with that, we'll just say welcome again. Again, I'm Dr. Sahara Wan. I'm the very proud president of Los Angeles Southwest College. Very happy and very excited to be here today to share our story with you. So I wanted to give you a brief just background and history of our college. We are the smallest college in the Los Angeles Community College District. Smallest but fiercest, you will hear. We are warriors, absolutely. We are cougars and definitely fierce. So you get that vibe when you're on campus. And again, we hope that when it's safe to do so, we can have you on campus so you can see our facilities and the beauty of our campus in person. We are located in unincorporated Westmont, West Athens, and our service area is Inglewood, Hawthorne, Gardena, parts of Los Angeles County, and unincorporated Los Angeles. And we were founded in 1967 as a result of the Watts Rebellion. And so again, social justice, we are the result of a rebellion, the result of a community crying out for justice. And so, who we are, that is embedded in the history and pretty much everything that we do, the focus on social justice and a student-centered approach. Again, we are the only college in South Los Angeles. Our median income in the area is $18,600. So again, we are serving a very underrepresented, disadvantaged population for our service area. And we are a predominantly new campus. I think people have this vision of Southwest from maybe 10, 15 years ago where it was like bungalows and dirt and, lots of construction happening, but we are an absolutely beautiful campus. You can see that in the background picture of our Zooms today. And we will talk about some of our newer buildings later on in the presentation. And everyone can see the screen okay, right? Just want to make sure. Yes, okay, perfect. So a little bit about our demographics. We serve about 8,000 students per year. About 97% of our students are students of color. 70% are women. 85% receive financial aid. 75% are first generation. 69% are under the age of 30. And when we did a survey in 2019, within a 6-month period, a number of our students were experiencing food insecurity, housing insecurity, and homelessness. So again, we are very sensitive to the populations that we serve, and that we do need to approach our students in a holistic manner and not just focused on academic excellence, but the basic needs of our students, which often inhibit their ability to be successful. And so if we don't take that holistic approach, it really does impact student success as a whole. And then, as we mentioned earlier, Chancellor Rodriguez mentioned, we also have 2 high schools on our campus. We have Bright Star Charter and Middle College High School. Both are very high performing high schools and support our dual enrollment efforts, as well as creating an early college going culture within the community. And so just to share some challenges pre-COVID, because of course, COVID has brought a lot of new challenges, but before the challenges, we were really experiencing, of course, high poverty rates, low median income. We do have a lot of gang activity within our region. There's 16 different gangs within our community that surround our campus on different sides. Again, significant concerns with basic needs, housing, food insecurity, technology divides. And then again, we were the only college without a cafeteria, which has again really made it difficult for our students to have a place on campus where they can have a place to congregate, to have food. We have food trucks, but again, it doesn't really create that sense of community that a cafeteria does, which again, we were hoping to address with our new student union. And we will talk about that later on in our presentation. But within our community, we really are considered one of the few safe spaces for many, many students. They come to us and they stay all day from the time the college opened to the time the college closed, because they found safe spaces, resources, and just warmth and welcome on our campus. And then one other area was that, we've continued to have issues with staffing and budget, and just like many other colleges, we're working to address that. And you'll see later on that we've taken definitive steps to make progress in those areas. With that, I will hand it over to Mr. Robert Stewart to speak about our COVID response.
Good morning, Board of Governors, Chancellor Rodriguez, and Board President Andra Hoffman, and all of my Southwest compadres. The Los Angeles Southwest College's COVID-19 response was very swift and very effective in my opinion. One of the first things that happened in March when we received the information that the pandemic had basically hit, we went ahead and activated our Emergency Operations System Center, or EOC, back in March. And one of the first things that had to happen was we needed to figure out how we were going to continue to offer courses to our students if we weren't going to be on campus. And so the big project was to convert all of our classes and non-essential operations from in-person operations to remote operations. And that happened in a period over 2 weeks. And so what the district was able to do was to go ahead and cancel classes for a week. And then we moved up the spring break period, a week period for our students. And what that did was that gave us 2 weeks to essentially figure everything out and get the students back into classes. And it was an awesome effort all the way around. One of the more important things was that we had to have a line of communication. And because this is a pandemic that none of us have experienced ever, then we had to have daily meetings of our ELC. And we made sure that all of the leadership on the campus would be represented in our ELC. And that included faculty leadership, whether it was the academic faculty leadership or the union leadership, staff unions. We also had our administrators and any faculty leadership or any faculty that was on the leader of a committee. All of those leaders were at our ELC meetings. And that increased the transparency because we were all going to have questions and concerns and things that we needed to agendize for our constituencies and for our students. The focus for us was not necessarily, we had to take care of ourselves, but the focus was always the students. And so we needed to make sure that, as you've heard, a lot of our students are disproportionately impacted students. And so we had the digital divide was real at LA Southwest. Some of our students, used their cell phones to do their work. And we knew moving all of our classes online, there were going to be some problems with students having to use their phones. And so we had to make sure that our students had everything that they needed. And also we have housing insecurity, which had to be addressed, as well as food insecurity. And as always, mental and emotional support is always necessary, but in a pandemic, we had to think a little larger and how we're going to actually not just provide that for students, but for everyone who may have needed it. So one of the things that we were able to do, thanks to Ben Demers and his work, our PIO, is we were able to make sure that students were met everywhere that they were. And what I mean by that is that we made sure we used email, we used videos online, phone, text, social media, and also the website, so that students can get information in various ways. We didn't assume that students had any one particular means of getting information from the campus or the district. What we wanted to make sure that we did through all of this communication was to make sure that we focused on the health and safety, mental and emotional support, and well-being of everyone on our campus. There were going to be, there are also trainings for employees on how to best deal with this from home. A lot of employees had to go home, and their kids were at home with them. And so how do you keep your mental health and your physical health going? And then also for students, there were wellness lounges for them to be able to have a safe space to discuss their emotional needs, in a safe space. The other thing that happened, aside from the ELC, because it's one thing to have the leadership be able to gather every day, which we did, but what about the rest of the campus community? And so the president, Dr. Wan, was able to hold, and she still does weekly, 2 town halls, one for employees and one for students, in which the information from the ELC was then shared with the general campus, and also gave the general campus students and employees the opportunity to address their concerns that they may have had as well. So we made sure that everyone was in touch with everyone, and this built a very good sense of community on our campus, because it's very easy, as we all know, to get lost in this pandemic and feel like you're alone. And so this was very important. The other thing we had to conquer was that we're putting instructors online who never even thought that they would teach online. And so the concern was, one, how do we get the instructors all online? And two, how long is this going to go on? Because if it goes on too long, there are rules, right, for distance education towards certification locally, and all sorts of other regulations that need to be upheld. And so the district did focus on making sure that we offered training, certification training of our two courses that we have for our instructors to certify being able to teach online. And they're both at one courses, one introduction to teaching with Canvas and one introduction to teaching and learning, which both I've actually taken both of them, being someone who did not teach online before the pandemic. And those are awesome courses to help people transition to the online. In addition to the certification and training, there was copious amounts of professional development, and we would like to thank not only our local and district professional development that was offered, but we also know that the Board of Governors and the State Chancellor's Office also provided the State Senate as well a lot of professional development for our instructors to be able to, in 2 weeks, make a transition to teach online. And the other hurdle that we were able to overcome with the help, some help from the district and some help from our publishers, from our textbook publishers, who were able to make sure that our hard to convert courses were able to secure software that was necessary to be able to take, especially things like science labs that needed to be taught online that never were taught online before. And so we had extensive programming at the district and local level to help our instructors make the transition. And what we then wanted to do was be able to successfully not only convert all of these classes online, but to get people in the frame of mind that we had no idea, and we still have no idea how long we're going to be in this modality. So we had to push for the best for our students, which means that our instructors needed to be ready to teach online. Next, for the Board of Governors flexibility, we were very grateful that you all were able to get together and relax some things because we had to make this pivot very quickly. And so the blanket addendum was, a godsend. We were able to then, with, with some type of without stress, move everybody into the online environment without the expectation that they were going to be held to the same standards that other classes, DE classes, are held to initially. And so that blanket addendum helps. And we realized also that there was an ending date on the blanket addendum for our courses. And you guys gave us till December 31st to be able to get all of our courses through our local process. And I'm happy to say that out of around 200 courses, we have been able to successfully move all but 13 into our local curricular process. And so we're making good headway. And then also we have most of our instructors are either certified to teach online or close to being certified to teach online. The district did a very good job because of the flexibility of the Board of Governors in centralizing, our district efforts. And so we are 9 campuses. And so you can imagine that could be pretty chaotic. And so we call it leveraging the power of 9. Our district was able to centralize its efforts and provide support to all of the teams on each campus that were trying to get through the initial phases of this pandemic. The other thing that the Board of Governors did that was helpful was that, and I'll speak from my experience, I was teaching an anatomy class. I'm a biology faculty. And also, just to let you know, I serve on a lot of the Chancellor's Office committees through the ASCCC, which I serve as the Area C representative right now for the ASCCC. But our students, when they presented in the courses after the 2-week period, some of them were just stressed out. They didn't know if they could finish it, and they needed some options. And the options to have the emergency withdrawal or excuse withdrawal, EW, was very helpful because students could feel their way through it and see if they can actually make the transition. It was a lot to ask students who did not ask to be in online classes to actually be in online classes and be able to do well when all of them didn't have the same tools to succeed. The equity issues were very present, as they always are. And so therefore it did allow for students to be able to make that decision that, this didn't work out for me. I wasn't expecting this. And so therefore I'd like to get out of this class, even though I tried very hard to do what I needed to do. And as a result of that, we had about 30% of our students who were taking at least one class utilize this process. So students did ultimately, some of them drop out, but the fact that they're not penalized for having to do that during the pandemic was, we're very grateful to the Board of Governors for allowing us to do that. Okay, next we're going to have Juan Camacho and Lance Robert talk about the challenges of LASC students post-COVID-19. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Juan Camacho. I'm an ASO advisor and CalRIS counselor, and here we have my co-advisor. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Lance Robert, co-advisor with ASO and political science associate professor. Thank you, Juan.
So we're gonna keep it a little short. We just want to touch on the challenges that LAC students voicing concern post-COVID. So a lot of students were having food insecurities, which LASC and LACCD in collaboration were addressing. But before we left, before the pandemic hit, there was actually a food pantry that was being established for our students to come in and get some food. So working with the whole campus, we're actually putting a food pantry together in collaboration with ASO. Also, a lot of students voicing concern on technology. So LASC, LACCD in collaboration came up with a lot of workshops, a lot of numbers to call just in case they were struggling with either Cranium Cafe, Zoom, Canvas, also the high-speed internet, providing resources for our students. A lot of our students did not have reliable internet, so the district and LASC build a collaboration with AT&T low-cost internet. Also, a lot of students, like we mentioned before, were having housing insecurity and homelessness. So again, in collaboration with the campus and with the district, there were resources that were put together. They did also voice that they were having a little bit of issues trying to find a place to study. So we're actually working to find a solution for that. I know it's not an easy fix since we have a lot of students that have families. So there's not a really a place to study or to kind of like find a boundary of where to study and where to, what time is best for them. Also, this was the first time that a lot of our students were taking online classes. So like we were mentioning before, came up with a plan with the EW process for our students to not be penalized. Also, mental health. Some of our students were struggling with mental health as well, and we came up with some of solutions to help out with that. Human and campus connections, unemployment, family loss. So just to cut it a little bit short, a lot of this PowerPoint and presentation is going to address some of the stuff that I touched on. So I'm going to let them go ahead and further explain the resources that we have provided for our students.
So
And I'm
Juan,
gonna-
before we move on, I wanted to kind of play off of Dr. Awan's theme for graduation, which was these resilient times for our brilliant minds. So I am so hopeful. I have a great deal of hope because our students cannot be stopped. They have a resilient spirit, meaning they cannot be stopped despite destabilizing conditions in the community and at school and in the home. So I'm very hopeful as we move forward because our students are going to make it to the finish line. And one way to close every gap is to support our students. So now you're going to hear about the support that they've received.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho and Dr. Robert. My name is Rochelle Thomas Green. I am the Gateways Housing Program Coordinator and Counselor, and I'm here to talk to you about the response to our students' challenges that those two gentlemen mentioned. It was a multi-layered response. First off, we distributed approximately 500 laptops to our LASC students to keep through the LACCD Foundation. Also, we purchased 1,300 laptops to establish a loaner program to fulfill the technology needs of LASC students over the next year due to the fact that there is no definite end date for the current health pandemic. Students can also keep these laptops for up to 1 year or longer if they stay enrolled, which is great. Wi-Fi was another issue, as Mr. Camacho outlined. So we identified and distributed low-cost Wi-Fi options for the students. And now that it's allowable by LA County, LASC is currently developing a drive-up Wi-Fi system to allow students to park on campus to access free high-speed Wi-Fi, which I'm excited about. Meals and groceries. So food insecurity is a prevailing concern on our campus. We provided weekly drive-through grocery and hot meal giveaways for our students. It was sponsored by our Hunger Free Campus Funds and Foundation. Unfortunately, this was discontinued due to an LA County health ordinance. Currently, we are creating plans for a no-contact food distribution now that it's again allowable by the County Department of Health. The housing grant is another way we responded. In January 2020, Los Angeles Southwest College was awarded a $2.1 million 3-year homeless and housing insecurity state grant. $700,000 each year goes to support rapid housing from 2020 to 2023. So we developed the Gateways program in response to this grant. Gateway stands for gaining access through education, work, and yielding stability, and I'm proud to be a part of this program. We provide short-term and long-term housing solutions for unhoused students at LASC. The short-term housing solutions are low to no barrier to assist students that are homeless or housing insecure. This means that we have the ability to be flexible around grants, units, and financial aid criteria with special circumstances. We will also be able to provide approximately 30 students a shallow subsidy of $300 per month to supplement rental costs. On the other end, our long-term Gateways housing solution is another avenue to cover the full cost of rent and move-in expenses for approximately 25 unhoused students per year. So this is for a full year, not a semester, but a full year. This long-term solution can be coupled with our other campus collaborations, such as the Career Center, the Food Insecurities Area, our Mental Health Department, and various student services departments to provide sustainable housing and educational counseling. Dr. Awan?
Thank you so much, Rochelle, Juan, Lance, Robert. Thank you guys so much. So just to add a little bit to that, We also just, I guess, to highlight, all of this work that we've been doing has been in spite of COVID. We have been doing all of this online remotely. The grant was awarded to us in January, but we didn't receive the funds till summertime, which is usually a normal thing. And we created this program online through, multiple meetings to make sure that we launched it as soon as possible. So, and Rochelle is one of our lead counselors on that initiative. So thank you to that effort. And just to also touch on the fact that we have converted all of our student services to online activities through Cranium Cafe. So all of our student services are available for live chat through Cranium Cafe. And then we also implemented Fresh Desk and Fresh Caller, which are tech support, phone line, and email to provide support for our students, because again, we're all online and calling the campus is not going to help when no one is on campus to answer a phone. So we have, revamped those opportunities to be able to continue to support our students. We also just wanted to take a moment to share that, again, we are very busy. So I feel like if anything, we're busier than usual with COVID happening. And we have continued to make sure that we connect as a campus community. We hosted I think we're the only college that actually did a virtual Dean's Awards and President's Awards ceremony, so that our students who deserve and work so hard for these recognitions yearly would be able to have that experience still. It meant a lot to our students. They did not want to not have a commencement, a Dean's, a President's Awards, where they're recognized for their hard work. And so we actually did that. I'm not going to play all those videos for you because we will be here till the end of the day, but please check out our YouTube, and you can see the links are actually in the presentation, which we will send to you after this meeting. And you can absolutely take advantage and check out those different videos. We did a virtual commencement. We simultaneously did all 9 ceremonies on the same day. I was the lead for that, and I must say it was quite an intense effort, but we did it within a 2-month period, planned all 9 graduations virtually. And we also did a number of food drive-through food giveaways. And I actually did a graduation day surprise too, where I dropped off degrees and pizzas to some of our students with the help of Lance and Robert. Lance and Juan. And of course, we also did our employee recognition day. So we usually have an in-person employee recognition day. We have food and desserts, we dance. LASC knows how to have fun and throw some parties. And we of course couldn't do that in person, but I have to say, had a lot of fun online. It was quite entertaining to watch and have fun. We did scavenger hunts. We recognized our faculty, our staff, our classified professionals, administrators of the year. We did a whole bunch of recognitions. And of course, we also highlighted and recognized some of our all-star faculty administrators who have led the charge through COVID and did just phenomenal work, including just a special shout out to Jessica Drabond, who was our distance ed coordinator, who is now the distance ed coordinator at the district because she's so fantastic, who really did the heavy lift to train and help all of our faculty convert to online learning. And if you can just humor me for 1 second, I wanted to play a 1-minute video, which was our drive-through food giveaway video, just so you could take a look and see. Let me see if I can get this on my screen. Are you able to see the YouTube? You are? Okay, great. Okay, hopefully it'll play. Let's see.
Really important to have this type of program to provide the resources to our students. I am a member of the Southwest College Foundation nonprofit board, and our mission is to help raise awareness and funds to help support our scholars.
The LA Southwest College Foundation partnered with #lunchbag and Beyond Meat to distribute lunches to our students and their families.
The city that we're in has a lot of low-income families, and Southwest knows their students that are here. What they're doing is making sure that their students do not have a night without food in their stomach or food in their homes.
This has been just a vital outreach opportunity for our students to be able to get access to the food that they need. Just know that we care and we see you and we want you to stay with us. We want you to be successful, and we will not let you down during this time.
Thank you for humoring me. I know we have a lot of videos, so I don't want to belabor, but our YouTube is full of fantastic videos like this, and hopefully you can take some time after our presentation to look at those. So with that, I will hand it over to Dr. Jamel Carter to speak about our inclusion, diversity, equity, and anti-racism efforts. Are you still able to see the presentation since I was switching screens? Okay, great, thank you.
Dr. Juan, there was a question in the chat.
Sorry.
If we could open up for questions.
Absolutely. Please feel free if we'd like to pause and ask some questions. I'd be happy to do that. And I apologize, I'm sharing my screen. So yes, I can absolutely stop to take some questions. Sorry about that. We were breezing through and feel free to ask questions and then we can continue the presentation. So sorry about that.
It's just your enthusiasm. It's Jennifer. Thank you for this presentation so far. And also thank you for acknowledging our board member, Alma Salazar. We miss her very much too. She was a wise and important and thoughtful voice on the board. And it's a profound loss. So thank you for that acknowledgement. Recognizing that you serve a population tremendous need, do you know, it's the work I do is with youth and foster care. Do you know roughly how many former foster youth you have as part of your enrollment?
I don't know the number offhand. I can absolutely get that for you. And then I know we were talking about it before. I don't know, was it Rochelle or Allison? I think one of them was going to speak about the foster youth later on in the presentation, if that's okay. Yeah, we do have 2 programs that we work with foster youth about that, and we can absolutely get that number for you. Are there any other questions at this time?
Dr. Owen, I have a quick question for you. I think critical to our basic needs conversation is a discussion on physical security. And when we're talking about physical security, I hope we mean for the students who can't study from home or be at home for a long time because of the dangers at home. So could you talk about how we are addressing their needs in terms of physical security and psychological safety? I know that you touched in your presentation about homelessness and housing insecurity as well as mental health, but to me those terms kind of trigger more COVID-related things, and I'd like to get more insight onto things like domestic violence and other issues that may prevent our students from getting physical safety.
Absolutely, and thank you for asking. So our Title IX office is still quite active, and so they are there providing resources to our students on or off campus at this point. We have been making them available to support our students. With Rochelle and the Gateways program, again, as students reach out to share that they need assistance, we are able to work with them to do rapid rehousing if and when those physical needs really arise very quickly. We also have community partners who assist us. Shields is a partnership we have. They're actually just across the street from us physically, and they do holistic support for students that I think is outside of our scope, because again, we're a community college. We don't necessarily have the funding to do the robust services that would be needed to help a woman with children to quickly do rapid rehousing. So we do partner with our nonprofit partners in the area to help as those needs arise. And so Shields has been a great partner for us, as well as our CalWorks program, of course, supporting single parents as needs arise. Again, we have strong mental health and physical health services. Our mental health and physical health center is still open and taking telehealth services. And again, as they report issues, we work very quickly to address those needs as they arise. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And then I know, I think Rochelle wanted to chime in as well.
Hi, this is
hi, Allison, go ahead, sorry.
Also, we have a group called the BIT team, the Behavior Intervention Team, and it is a team composed of faculty, staff, our mental health counselor on campus, our sheriff's department, the counties, we like acronyms, and the acronym escapes me, but there's a county psychologist, or psychiatrist. I think he's a psychologist attached to the team. We've always met monthly, but we continue to meet monthly virtually. And the way the BIT team works, if you are a student or a staff member or a faculty and you see a student who is suffering. So for example, you're a faculty member, you have a student who has been a great student, and all of a sudden they're distracted, or a lot of our students come to us because they, as Dr. Wan said, we're a safe place. So they'll come and they'll share things with us. We've had faculty contact us and say, I have a student that is threatening to commit suicide, for example, when it happens. And so they will contact the BIT team. While we meet monthly, we are also a rapid response team. So the minute if anybody contacts the BIT team, if it is a urgent issue, the BIT team goes into action, and depending on the case, the sheriff's department will go to visit, or the county psychologist will go to visit. Our campus mental health professional will reach out. So we try to wrap the students in services and make sure, even in these trying times, that we're there. They continue to follow up. So we have a list of students who we have reached out to in the past. And whether we were able to reach them or not, we continue to reach out, make contact, make sure the students know that we're there. And there's been a lot of success. The
Can I?
team
Thank you
is.
so much, Allison. Can I jump in? This is board
Please,
member
Hoffman.
So at LA Valley College, we have the only comprehensive family resource center on a college campus in the state of California. And we do a lot of traveling around the country to sort of promote our program and get more funding. And I'm looking at, as a board member, expanding those services. It's expensive and it's all privately funded. As a matter of fact, Assemblymember Adreen Nazarian carved out $800,000 from the state budget to help us expand that Family Resource Center on the campus of Valley College. And so we're really looking at taking that model and having that throughout the district. We're not quite there yet, but we're working on it. They've made some very small grants, and I don't know, Dr. Awan, if you were one of the grant recipients, because we got a larger grant to be able to help some of our colleges with some seed money, but we recognize how important it is. And through that Family Resource Center, in addition to having group therapy for parents and other services, play groups, study groups, we have direct contact with all the agencies, and we don't just refer students, we actually walk them over, drive them over, connect them to domestic violence shelters, to other forms of housing, to mental health counseling, to how to file a restraining order. So we're really doing a lot in that area. So I'm really very grateful for your question. And then I did get an answer to the foster youth question. We have about 150 foster youth currently at LA Southwest College. But thank you. If that's an area that the Board of Governors is interested in, that's something I'm very interested in, is making sure that we have support for parents. 35% of the students in LACCD are parents. They're caring for children under the age of 18 in the home. And now more than ever, it's become so much harder because they've got their kids at home too, trying to learn online. And you're right. Sometimes their home environment is not a safe place. And, we have telehealth so that they can get mental health counseling. And it's been reported like they're hiding in the bathroom, or they're trying to go in their car to do their counseling because they don't have a private space. So I really appreciate the question. Thank you.
If I may ask a follow-up question also, can you talk about whether you are seeing increased utilization and how you're measuring that utilization? Because it seems like for this particular student population, the barriers for using the services before COVID are even more amplified now that COVID is here. So I'm very concerned that there's more need, but it's unmet because they can't avail themselves of these services.
Right. I don't think, go ahead, Dr. Awan. Go ahead, you can answer.
I would just say that's accurate. I think even before COVID, there was, we already have the data, unless it's intrusive and required, it's very hard to get students who are suffering or in need to use the services that we have available. And so with COVID happening, I think it's just exacerbated that issue and made it harder for students to take advantage of those resources. Number one, because sometimes they have issues finding those, right, because they're overwhelmed with everything happening. So to take time to now go find these resources, they're just really in it and dealing with it at a time. And second is, again, we do have those barriers where there's technology barriers, there's limitations with safe spaces at home. We did a survey in the summer to poll our students, and one of the number one issues was a quiet, safe space to study. Was one of the biggest needs that students had. And so again, I would say that the usage, if anything, has gone down because of the fact that the services are available, but they have more barriers that they're trying to overcome. And people are so consumed with just trying to deal with what they have right in front of them that they're not being able to take advantage of those services.
And in some communities, there's a stigma about getting help, especially if you're seeing a therapist. So that's another barrier we need to overcome, but we can get you some of that data, and that's
absolutely. And just one more quick note, that our Gateways program that Rochelle spoke about actually partnered with VAWA, Violence Against Women, to look for housing specifically for survivors of domestic violence. So I just wanted to make sure that we made that note as well. Thank you for the question. Board Member Fitzgerald, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I have several. I'll be brief because I'm really excited to hear about the DEI work that Southwest is doing. I wanted to start by recognizing a couple things. I think the student town halls that you're doing sounds like that's amazing. I'm really glad that you're allowing your institution to be held accountable and hear the student perspective and hear student concerns. That's one of the most important things that we can do right now. Mentioning I think the history, hearing a little bit about how your college was formed from the Watts Rebellion is very interesting. I'm a triple major. One of them is social justice. And I had a question regarding social justice. We know that nothing about me without me is for me. That's a tenet of social justice. And so I'm curious about how governance, participatory governance, has existed despite the pandemic, through the pandemic, and how the student perspective has been prioritized in participatory governance committees during the pandemic on your campus.
Thank you for that. I see Robert's hand raised, so I'll defer to him and then I'll chime in after. Robert, go ahead.
Great question, board member. The shared governance process of our campus has actually, I think, improved since the pandemic. Actually, we've had partnerships with our ASO and also our guided pathways facilitators who are all on this call. Have reached out to students since this pandemic has happened, and we now have students on actually actively participating in all of our committees. And so we've made sure not to leave any constituency behind in our decision making. And as our planning processes on campus move forward, even through the pandemic, we are now more than ever pulling everyone in the participatory governance process. So as the Academic Senate President, that's one thing that I look out for, and I can say that our campus has stepped it up since March.
Absolutely. And just to chime in, I think we have had increased participation because people don't have to drive or be on campus. So you just hop onto the meeting, and we have had really great participation because of that. And I also have to do a special thank you to Dr. Lance Robert and Juan Camacho, who are on the call and have really revitalized our Associated Students organization and have worked very diligently to make sure that students are represented on all of our participatory governance committees. And so we do have a student representative on all of our participatory governance committees, helping to inform the work that we're doing. Because again, we are very busy planning and implementing plans, and we want to make sure that we keep students at the center of what we do and that we have their voice to inform our decision making. Absolutely. So, and I thought I might have heard someone else chiming in, and I apologize if I cut you off. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. That's fantastic to hear. As you know, the second commitment in the vision for success is always designing with the student in mind. So I'm a strong believer that one of the best ways to step closer to the vision for success is to have that perspective everywhere you can. It's great to hear that you're prioritizing that perspective. My second question relates to the local student body association. Local SBAs right now are struggling. The elections for local SBAs were pretty tough. Virtual elections, there was a lot of problems, but it sounds like your SBA has hit a stride during the pandemic. And I'd just like to hear a little bit about, how active it is, how the institution has partnered with your SBA, whether it's involved in the Student Senate for California Community Colleges, just a little bit more if you wouldn't mind speaking just a little bit to that.
Absolutely. We have Juan and Lance on the call. I will defer to them to answer that question.
Our board member Fitzgerald, thank you for the question. Our ASO is really beefed up in the online environment. Our election participation for ASO was the highest it's been in the last few years. So students, the online format, VoteNet, and everything we use was very successful. Our college, I think, is District 7. So our president is attending those, Kenneth Sanchez. He's really into it and he's able to report back to us. So all the students who are on those shared governance committees report out to the body and make their suggestions in the design for the students, as you mentioned. So, and they continue to put on events in the virtual environment. So anything, I mean, and it's a lot of fun stuff and some serious stuff at the same time. Latino Heritage Month, you're looking at social justice issues with essential workers, very powerful presentations on that, partnering with other areas on campus, different departments, library, everybody else. And then also all the way to even having karaoke and joking around, right? Having some professional comedians come in and lighten up things in this, in the anxiety of the times. So they continue to do it. There'll be an election night watch party and we'll be explaining everything we can, and they'll see how they're a part of this process too. So yes, they're very, very active, very involved. They want to get back to campus and do even more and touch the people and give out food and give out masks. They just want to be a part of that process. So Juan, I don't know if you have anything to add.
No, I just wanted to also chime in on how we had previously roughly around 6 to 7 students participate in student government. Last year, we had a full board with 20 students. I know it makes it a little difficult to have quorum, but like we said, we do it with students in mind. So the more, the better, because that also creates a lot of follow-up to our events, or what are we trying to do. Like Dr. Roberts said, we want to keep it also friendly too, to not just tie everything to education, but also we're human and we need laughter and we need all that. So we also want to build that sense of community on the online environment.
Absolutely. That's fantastic to hear. To the point of like the comedian is a fantastic idea. I'm a local student body association president as well. And so I'm going to take that idea if you don't mind. But you're right. I mean, mental health is kind of suffering right now. And so, it's equally important as to advocate, as to have, as to have these serious events as it is to have these fun events. I have one brief last question. It's clear to me that your institution is student focused, and that's really great and more important than ever during the pandemic. One of the biggest challenges that student leaders across the state are grappling with right now is the conversation that I've heard a little back and forth, and Hildegard brought this up, is safe spaces. For students that don't have a safe space at home, how will they have a counseling appointment? How can they possibly be expected to study? Students have been faced with unparalleled craziness at home. I'm one of those students. I'm caring for my mother who was in the hospital for 31 days, going back and forth between my room like a nurse as I'm trying to take exams. And so, this is something that everybody who's a student right now is facing. I'm wondering if you can just touch a little bit about how you're exploring making sure whether there's feasibility about opening up specific spaces on campus that are socially distant and have specific services. I know you mentioned that there were specific services that were also available in person. I'm just wondering if you can speak to the guidelines, the codes around how that's happening, and just a little bit regarding that whole narrative.
Sure. So LA County has been pretty strict about our ability to do any in-person on-campus services. So like we shared earlier, we were doing like weekly drive-through hot meals, groceries, come pick your stuff up. Here we want, we need to make sure you're okay. And unfortunately that, we were told we had to stop because of the LA County guidelines, and because that was around the time where cases were increasing pretty exponentially in LA County. We especially as fall semester got closer and we were working on getting our laptops here to get distributed for students, we were trying to look at opportunities to open the campus up for social distancing, like computer labs or space or something. And again, none of that is allowable right now through LA County. So we haven't been able to do that. What we are starting to look at now that it is allowable with LA County is the Wi-Fi hotspot opportunity. So that just became available in LA County. They had denied us access to those resources, like other counties have it, like San Diego I know has it. We were not allowed to do that until I think about a week and a half ago. So we are working with our IT team and our district team to identify where on campus is the best Wi-Fi from your car. And then we are working on having those spaces where students can check in remotely, drive on campus. We have like a very secure check-in process with, making sure, there's this questionnaire, and then they could drive and park on campus and then be in their car safely, being able to access our Wi-Fi. And of course, maybe get some time out of the house to have a safe space away from, unfortunately, if there's someone in the home that's causing violence or other emotional issues. So that's where we've gotten to so far. And because this is such a new environment, we continue to be very creative and trying to push the boundary of what we can do while being in compliance with the LA County's guidelines, which are probably one of the strictest in the state, justifiably so. But that's probably one of the areas where we've had. And then, of course, we have partnerships with Shields and our Gateways program, which we've just launched to, again, help with rapid rehousing. We have partnerships with VAWA. We're doing everything we can to try to get those resources to our students. But that's pretty much where we're at right now.
Thanks so much. It sounds fantastic, and this is going to be something that persists for quite a while, the COVID situation. So I hope as it develops, we're able to open up some of these services and safely house some students. And specifically, there was a point earlier that was brought up. We surveyed students about these services. Well, the students who might need them the most might not be the students that can have answer surveys. So I hope I know that you guys are thinking about those students, and that's great. And I'm really, really excited to know that Southwest College is in such great hands.
Thank you. And I saw Trustee Hoffman unmute. Feel free to.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think we're going to be looking at, when safe to do so, is creating some outdoor spaces for students to be able to access Wi-Fi and study, because I think we all recognize that sitting in your car is really not an ideal place to do work. And it's, we're in Southern California, so other than today where it's crazy windy, the weather is usually pretty decent, and maybe putting up some tents and having a way that students can study social distancing from each other. That's something that we're also looking at. But we recognize students need a safe place. I mean, that and especially these students, and it's been a big issue and a big barrier. The other thing is, when they are on Zoom, having faculty that are understanding enough to know that they can't always show they can't always have their cameras on. And how do you keep a student engaged? And I've had a lot of conversations with faculty. How do you keep a student engaged, when they just have the black screen with their name? And understanding the situation that they're in, because they may have 2 or 3 kids jumping around, or they're sharing a bedroom with their grandma, and who knows what else is going on. So that's been a real challenge for our faculty, and making sure that students are getting the information and are able to focus on the classes when they're in the classes without having their cameras on. Lots of challenges, as you know, you're a student.
Thank you for that. And yeah, we did actually work with our legal counsel to clarify when students are required to have their cameras on and not have them on. So we have very clear requirements on, students are not to be enforced to have their cameras on unless maybe they're doing a speech and they have to have it on to present their speech, and then they can turn their camera back off. So we've worked very closely with our faculty to make those clarifications. And I think we as a whole campus have really been promoting empathy and kindness and humanity, because just as we all are struggling with trying to adjust with COVID, our students are as well. And so, this is something that's impacting all of us on a personal basis. But thank you for your question. Okay, I don't see any more questions at the moment, so I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Jamil Carter to speak about our IDEA efforts. So, Jamil.
Thank you there, Dr. Awan. I am here to speak on our inclusion, diversity, equity, and anti-racism efforts here at Los Angeles Southwest College. And as mentioned earlier, we were formed and founded out of the Watts Rebellion. And so one of the things I think is important to note, we here as an institution are deeply dedicated to social justice, equity, and anti-racism work. And some of the activities that we have engaged in to kind of strengthen that commitment, we partnered with USC's Race and Equity Center. And also we were part of the inaugural national assessment of collegiate campus climates to begin assessing the campus climate for all students. And I think one of the ways in which you grow and strengthen and improve is to definitely assess where you're at and look for creative solutions in which you can build from your base point. And we became a member of USC's Equity Alliance. And what we do there, we send teams of 5 to attend specific equity anti-racism training. And then they bring that information back to campus and present the content to the larger community. So it's essentially using it as a train the trainer, where they'll come back and share with the broader community here on campus in terms of what they have learned. Also, on a district-wide level, there has been a framework developed for race, equity, and social justice. The district's leadership created a framework for social justice and racial equity for the district office and all 9 colleges to pursue. The chancellor developed an advisory committee on Black and African American affairs, and 7 of the members are comprised of staff and faculty from LASC. In addition, Dr. Owan has put together a presidential task force that is working together, and we're meeting to, I guess, look at that district framework and prioritize and operationalize it in terms of what we can do here on our campus. And so what we're doing and being a member of that task force, we're examining all aspects of the college from hiring to budget and more. And over the next 6 months to a year, the task force will meet to accomplish the following goals that have been identified and highlighted for us. That is, analyze the LACCD racial equity and social justice framework and provide recommendations to the president on action items the campus can take to institutionalize the framework. We're also evaluating the processes and systems of the campus to create a safe and welcoming environment for our Black and Brown students and employees, creating a unified campus. We're also evaluating our college-wide data and operations to identify gaps that need to be addressed within the next college-wide equity plan. And we will recommend a local statement for LASC to adopt based on the district framework that can help steer our college into the future. Additional activities that we have engaged in include attending AMEN trainings. We have sent teams of 20 to monthly anti-racism AMEN trainings and discussions. We have opened this up to all employees to encourage participation and inclusion across constituencies. And we're investing in continued professional development for the campus community in relation to anti-racism, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And I will definitely say, having attended some of these AMEN trainings, I have found them to be very informative. I think we're having courageous conversations that we're bringing back to campus. And I think, as Dr. Wan has mentioned, when we're looking at a student population that is 90% students of color, where in the larger society, they may not feel welcome, we're definitely wanting to make sure that we are creating a safe space where they can be exposed to learning and opportunity. For it has already been said that we do know education is the key to both economic mobility. And so definitely we do feel and do acknowledge the research that has shown that students of color perform well when the faculty that are in front of them instructing them resemble them. And so we're definitely going to continue to advocate on behalf of our students to make sure that we get all of them across the stage and complete their degree, certificate, or whatever program of study they have selected. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamil. Are there any questions before we move to the next update?
Dr. Owen, I have a question.
Please.
So Dr. Carter, thank you very much for your presentation. I think in my day job, I do a lot of the diversity and belonging work as well, and we invest a lot of time and energy into making programmatic and policy changes that we hope will make our world a better place. I think more often than I'd like to admit, I have to engage in a gut check to make sure that despite all of these things that we're doing, that we're actually headed in the right direction. So could I ask you for your gut check, your honest assessment of where the college is, where it needs to be going, especially since my understanding or my impression is that you guys were ahead of the curve in the first place. If you were founded in the spirit of racial justice and racial equity in the 1960s, you guys have been doing this for forever now. So how do you feel about where you're going and where the college is going?
So we can let Jamil and then Robert.
So I can definitely say I am passionate. I'm probably, I came to LA Southwest in March, and I chose to come to this institution when you look at the rich history, but then also when you look at the student demographic in which we serve. And I definitely feel the passion that our faculty have for student success. Been the dean of liberal arts. I have behavioral and social science, child development, and arts and humanities. And I can say all three of those departments are truly passionate about making sure we're creating opportunities for success for our students. One of the things that go on in our child development program is that they have a loaner program for books for students that may not be able to afford the books to purchase. They want to make sure that they have an opportunity to have the textbooks so they can yet be successful. So I think when we're looking at innovative applications such as that in child development, with some of the things that are being done in BSS, I do think there is great work to be done and that we are doing great work. But I do think when you're looking at the areas in which we serve, where Dr. Owen has made mention that we're looking at median income of $18,000, we know that that's a high level of poverty. And so there are things in which our students are facing that I think we as an institution truly do need more resources to continue to invest in the great work that we're doing. But I think we're making the best out of what has been offered to us. But I do know that we can do a lot more in terms of moving the needle if there's more investment coming to us to better support our students. Hopefully that answers your question.
And then Robert, I know, had some comments as well.
So the true gut check, as you say, board member, that LA Southwest has had to deal with is that since the riots and the founding of this campus, the demographics of our area has changed. And so now we have a special situation that you don't see in the community colleges up and down the state. We have close to nearly equal numbers of students who are African American and Latino. And so the true gut check that we're having to go through at Southwest is to deal with the fact that most of our students are disproportionately impacted. So when we do an equity plan, it's tough for us to establish where the focus should be, because all of our students are high need. As far as the inclusion, diversity, equity, and anti-racism, what we need to do at this point is to take another look at our true diversity as it stands today and focus our efforts on making sure that our campus faculty and staff and administrators are truly reflective of this change of demographics that we've seen. So we consider ourselves both an HBCU and an HSI. And we need to move in the direction. For instance, I'll give an example. We have departments like our math department where, you know, we're lacking in minority minority instructors. We have some areas where we're lacking in Latino instructors. And so that's the gut check that Southwest is trying to deal with right now. How do we, as this sort of weird out of the box campus where we're not really concerned with being overwhelmed with Caucasian faculty and staff, but that we have our own disparity of diversity within minority groups. And so that's where we're checking ourselves and trying to move in that direction.
Can I jump in for a minute?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I also saw something in the chat about ethnic studies, which we took the lead on an ethnic studies bill last year. LACCD co-sponsored a bill. It died, but we're going to bring it back again. And I think there's now widespread support for an ethnic studies bill for community colleges. Some colleges have local ethnic studies requirements. Like my day job, I work at Glendale College. We've always had a local requirement for ethnic studies. I also think this is a very challenging, and when I do the gut check, it's a challenging community, and this college has had a very challenging time. We recently revised our debt policy. So the district, you know, had a policy about colleges that were running a deficit, and those colleges would have to pay back the district over time. We recently wiped out the debt for all of our colleges that were in deficit, LA Southwest being one of them. And that should really help to be able to bring more support for students, because you know, the funding issue was an issue. It was an issue for faculty, for staff, for everybody, and especially for students. But I do think we need to be more intentional in terms of how do we support our students that come to us. Because what I hear on the street is they don't feel supported and they are struggling. So what can we do when we do that gut check? You know, is it about hiring more faculty that are inclusive of the population that we have on campus? Is it about providing extra resources such as housing and food? And we also have competition with East LA College and our Southgate Center. So some of our students that are really in the service area of LA Southwest choose to go to East LA College for a variety of reasons. We really need to take a deeper dive and look at that, especially during COVID and as we get into like a post-COVID environment. I applaud the work of Dr. Awan and everyone on the call today for really understanding and recognizing that these are challenging times. But I think some of the things that we've done at the district level should help contribute to rebuilding Southwest and bringing students back. And I don't know, Dr. Awan, if you want to add to that at all.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Trustee Hoffman, and thank you to everyone who helped with this question. I think just wanted to touch on two things. One, as Robert stated, gentrification has been an issue in our area. We were predominantly African American and have been since the institution was formed. And over the years, because of gentrification and everything happening specifically in Inglewood and Westmont, West Athens, we have seen a shift of African Americans and Blacks leaving the community and a larger Latino, Hispanic, Latinx population moving in. And so from going from, you know, 100% African American to 80% African American, to see those shifts happen, we are about 50-50 now. And so the gut check comes from asking, are our brown students having a different experience on campus than our Black students? And the answer is yes, they are, and we are aware of that because we have been doing the homework and asking the tough questions. So the next step is, as Robert stated, our equity plan, everyone is disproportionately impacted. So when we help one student, we help all students because they all need the support that we are trying to offer. So in looking at that, we've done focus groups. We were part of the USC's NAC the first year. We have done a lot of institutional homework to look into this problem. And we are now looking at solutions through our student success, equity, and access committee that we have, our equity plan updates, and then of course a lot of the other work that we're doing, including through the IDEA task force, to ensure that we're meeting those needs. And final point on this question is looking at the curriculum we offer and making sure that the curriculum is preparing students for careers, not jobs. And I know we're about to go into our Guided Pathways update. Our lovely Guided Pathways crew is on this call and is going to give you a very depth update on where we are. But Guided Pathways has been specifically important for us because it really shows the focus on a career, not just a job. And the curriculum that we're providing needs to be tied to some place that has a livable wage, right? And so we take those very seriously when you're living in an environment where the average income is $18,000 a year. No one can survive on that. And if we are training students to perpetuate that cycle, we are part of the systematic racism that then exists. And so we have to confront those and be very active in addressing those head on. And I will commend our faculty. I know they put up with a lot from me and my questions and my asking of things, but they have done fantastic work in evaluating what we're offering and how we're offering it, and if it's really supporting the students that we serve. And at the end of the day, when they get a degree from us, can they do something with it that is going to not just change their life, but the life of their family? So anyways, I could go on, and I want to make sure we get through the presentation. So hopefully I'll let our Guided Pathways crew take over. And I know we still have time at the end for questions as well. So if everyone's okay, I'll hand it over to our Guided Pathways team. Thank you for that.
Good morning. This is a really good way to segue into Guided Pathways. I am Dr. Jessica St. Paul, one of the Guided Pathways faculty facilitators. I am for academic affairs. I'm also the LASC Academic Senate Executive Adjunct Senator, and I teach as an adjunct faculty member for public health and health occupations. I also want to say thank you, board members, for seeing you in this space. I'm also the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee Chair for Local 1521. To see you in this space in our home, it's really good to see you even as virtually. So thank you so much for being here. From our inception, LASC has taken an interdisciplinary approach to Guided Pathways. Our cross-functional Guided Pathways Steering Committee, our work groups, have always been cross-functional. We include students, classified and confidential staff, instructional and counseling faculty, and LASC administration. We have our Guided Pathways Support Advocate, which is our direct line to our LASC President, Dr. Awan, in collaboration with our LASC Academic Senate President. So it has really, really been a good mesh for our steering committee. We meet bi-monthly, so believe it or not, during COVID-19, that did not stop us. Actually, we've had more momentum throughout our Guided Pathways Steering Committee campus-wide. With COVID-19, it was imperative that we had to make sure we kept our momentum. We had to think about our key constituents, and we all have been talking about this morning. It is our students. The first step was for us to get our Guided Pathway student ambassadors. So we developed a Guided Pathway student ambassadors training on Canvas, completely on Canvas. Our Guided Pathway student ambassadors completed their onboarding and orientation. In addition, they didn't know, but we had to, we decided to include Canvas certification. So our one of our Guided Pathway student ambassadors have already completed training, so they'd be able to assist with the consultation with our distance education committee to be able to provide support for our students when we get that online onto our Canvas shell. This fall, our Guided Pathways team, led by our faculty tri-share, developed the LASC committee alignment using our Chancellor's Office Guided Pathway Scale of Adoption, which guides us, and it also includes equity consideration. And as mentioned, our Guided Pathway student ambassadors and GPA liaisons were assigned to each and every one of our LASC standing committees. Amidst COVID-19, our LASC, with our leadership of our Guided Pathway student ambassadors, they finalized our meta majors. We know we're one of the colleges that need to finish our meta majors, which are now career and academic pathways, or CAPS. You will hear more about that from our Guided Pathway student ambassadors when they review their updates. Our program mapper, and I'm so thankful and grateful to having my co-facilitator, Ria, with her team, completing the program mapper, which is aligned with our career and academic pathways. We now have counselor liaisons for our CAPS to increase engagement and collaborate with our instructional faculty. One of our most recent projects to get us through GP implementation We would like to thank our Chancellor's Office, the Foundation for California Community Colleges for this collaboration with the National Center for Inquiry and Improvement. So you probably know this is NC2. And it's a great collaboration, which now allows us to establish our design teams. We are mobilizing our guided pathways implementation. We have 4 design teams, which is everything that we talked about this morning: career exploration, onboarding orientation, program design for career and academic pathways, which is our learning communities, student success and enrollment management. One of our projects we'll be talking about next in Guided Pathways want to do something a little bit different. We did the LASC way. As we know, our president has been very innovative since she's come to our college, which we're so grateful for. But now we have the virtual campus tour, and I'm going to take it to our PIO, which we're so grateful to be part of our team, Ben, to talk about our new virtual campus tour.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Dr. St. Paul. Very appreciative of that. My name is Benjamin Demers. I'm the Public Relations Officer at Los Angeles Southwest College. LASC's first ever virtual tour is in the process of being created, and when completed, will allow past, present, and future students, as well as community members and partners, the opportunity to discover our campus 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all online. It's an information tool, a marketing tool, an outreach and recruitment tool, as well as a promotional tool, all wrapped up into one. The tour will consist of like a 20 to 30 minute documentary about the college, discussing our community, our history, our academics, and support services. We'll also have 8 additional videos that will each be 2 to 3 minutes in length that will look at the individual facilities on campus and highlight the unique departments and programs in each of them. The creation of the virtual tour has been greatly supported and funded by our Guided Pathways Committee and done in collaboration with administration, academic services, student services, and our students. Task Force has overseen the production of the tour, has been meeting weekly, and is working with an impressive film company, Serenity Productions, which will provide a cinematic feel to this presentation, as well as our award-winning theater department, which will cast employees and students throughout these videos. While we feel this effort will be an incredible recruitment tool, especially as we confront the COVID-19 pandemic and help separate us from so many community colleges in the surrounding area, we also believe strongly that when watched along with our online orientation, a student on their first day will have a total understanding of LASC and be fully prepared to find success in the classroom. The filming of our facilities will begin soon, and look forward to sharing this final product to you when completed. Filming of individuals will start once we receive clearance from the LA County Department of Public Health. With that said, I will hand it over to my colleague, Counselor Rhea Petrie, who will discuss our online orientation.
Thank you so much, Ben. Good morning, everyone. It's Rhea Petrie here, proud counselor and proud Guided Pathways co-facilitator for student services. As my colleague mentioned, we have been meeting weekly since the summer and even a tad earlier than that to revise and just totally do an overhaul of our online orientation. As we know, some of you had mentioned some of the challenges that we all know students have experienced. And as a committee, we decided to directly address those barriers and do our best to ensure that students have as smooth of an onboarding process as possible. So in those meetings, we've made it a point to, give the online orientation a more sophisticated, student-friendly look and feel. As Ben mentioned, our team, once given clearance, will continue underway with our video recordings. But in the meantime, just to remedy some of the barriers, we decided to create some mini YouTube videos, which will assist students with their onboarding efforts. So just as an example, how to log into the SIS portal, how to log into Canvas, which is their online learning platform, how to add classes with a permission number, just to name a few. And then we did one quick one, just how to become an LASC student, because we realized some students might only have the use of their phones. We want to be able to have a quick remedy to them just so they can see and know how to do that. In addition, we worked with our webmaster to try to streamline some of these steps. So we've, a lot of us have walked through the steps of what a student would potentially have to go through, from the application to, how can I find a counselor? How can I access financial aid? So we're really working. We didn't mention this, but another effort through our Guided Pathways Committee was implementing a student support hub. So our goal is really to encapsulate all of these services to make it a one-click effort for the student, just so that they don't have to go fishing and searching and be bounced around too much. So really excited to be a part of the team, and thankful that you all are joining us today. So I'll hand it over to our wonderful ambassadors, Gabe and Darlene, to share more of our efforts with you.
Gabe, you're muted, Gabe.
Yeah, could you unmute, Gabe? Sorry.
I apologize. Hello, everyone. Hi, good morning, board members. It's my pleasure presenting in this virtual experience. My name is Gabriel Turner Gonzalez. I am a career guidance counselor assistant and a Guided Pathway student ambassador, and also a proud being LASC alumni. And as I move on with the presentation of our Guided Pathways framework at LASC, LASC institutional transformation is transforming lives through career and academic pathways. Guided Pathways virtual, where we conducted a Guided Pathways virtual wellness lounge, bilingual, in where we created a safe place where students can express their challenges during COVID-19 and to provide valuable supportive resources from LASC, in which our faculty advisor, Dr. St. Paul, monitor our lounges to identify students in need of referral for medical and mental health concerns. Also, Guided Pathways virtual wellness lounge are held every third Saturdays of the month. And we also thankfully with my colleague Ben, Guided Pathways will move forward in creating a website, and where students, faculty, and the whole LAC community can chime in and check our events and check what we're about and what resources we have implemented for our students. And as well, as a GP student ambassador, we have the opportunity to host best practices on GP regional and local webinars on students' engagement. And therefore, as a GP student ambassador campus, we had a wide presentation in Flex Day, which was successfully implemented thanks for the collaboration of all our departments and all LAC community, and where Guided Pathways had the opportunity to explain and present faculty and staff our new career and academic pathways as we explain. And as I move forward, I will leave it to my colleague Darlene, and as she will mention the rest of her collaborations and projects. Thank you, guys.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Darlene Koshak. I am the Career Guidance Counselor Assistant for Guided Pathways. I just want to start off by thanking everyone. I feel so honored and grateful to have this opportunity and present with you all the amazing work that we are doing at Los Angeles Southwest College. So how did we arrive to come up with our career and academic pathways? We had to do this during COVID, so we did become very innovative and creative. We utilized Zoom. We were able to host several Zoom meetings with our students, and we hosted these major sorting activities. During that time, those meetings were recorded, which were later reviewed by us to make sure that the changes that were suggested by our students were made. At the same time, during those Zoom meetings, we were doing live changes to prove to the students that their voice was really being heard, and that what they were telling us, the changes were suggested, we were actually going to do them, and we were just saying that we were going to do them. To finalize our voting, we launched our Meta Majors, obtaining the final vote from our students. How we did that is we created a Google form, which was open for 4 days. We invited our students to vote. We got a total of 492 votes from our students, and that is exactly how we were able to come up with our new 7 career and academic pathways. We are inviting our students to join our team, and the way that we are doing that is we have created a virtual hiring information sessions. During this time, we give up presentations to our students, overview of the Guided Pathway Student Ambassador position requirements, the duties, and the application process. We are collaborating, in collaboration, we are very thankful of that with academic departments and student services. We are creating information sessions for each of our new career and academic pathways for our students to help them feel belonging within this new format. So we are having a total of 7 events, which we have labeled Rep Your CAP events. These are virtual events where we are letting our students hear career information, academic information, and hear student services within their own pathway. And we are also letting our students have questions towards the end. We have our work group, which happens on a weekly basis. This is open to LASC staff and faculty as well, but for them it's only open once a month, every second Thursday of the month. We are very grateful that we have the support of our wonderful president, Dr. Awan, who has given us the opportunity to us letting us present at her virtual town hall meetings. At this time, we are able to update our students on what Guided Pathways is doing, and we are also able to invite our students to our events. This is a platform that has helped us engage our students as well, as they're able to see us, and just if this is the first time that they hear of us, we're very grateful because we get follow-up with students as well. So they reach out to us and they're wondering who we are, what is it that we do. Lastly, for us to increase student engagement, we have created flyers that announce our events. Here are some samples. Like I mentioned earlier, we have become very innovative during our meetings. So in order for us to increase our student engagement, before we start our meetings, we have a 5-minute timer, and it's like a video that we show to our students. Along with that video, we play a song. Sometimes if we have staff and faculty present, we ask them to pick the song to make them feel also part of that process. It gets students, I think they get caught off guard and surprised because it's something new, and it gets them excited, like, oh, what's next? So we're really trying hard to have them engage. And like we mentioned earlier, sometimes their cameras are off, and we do see them typing in the chat, so we're getting a lot of positive response in regards to that. Also during our meetings, we are using our wheel of names to give them opportunity drawings. This gets them very attentive, and like I said, they're live on the chat saying, oh, I hope you choose me, and then they know each other, which is so amazing to us, because they'll say, oh, Carla, you were almost next, and maybe it's someone they didn't know, but they're communicating, and I think it gives that human aspect, that human touch for them. And of course, all of this has been possible with the support from the president's office and our Guided Pathways support advocate. That is it for me.
Thank you guys so much. And just to highlight one thing, we've really been focusing on implementation. I know we've done a wonderful job planning and making sure that we were ready to go with our infrastructure. But this year, what we've done is actually take the Guided Pathways framework and map it to our committee goals for the year, our participatory governance committee goals. So each of our committees actually knows what they need to do in regards to getting their Guided Pathways implementation actually going. So it goes from theory to actual practice. So that's been a really helpful step. We did that over the summer. And there's actually success coaches from our Guided Pathways committee on our participatory governance committees to make sure that we are integrating Guided Pathways into all of the processes and procedures that we have on campus. So I can stop and take questions, or we can wrap up with our continued transformation and then take questions, if maybe that's okay. We're almost done. Okay, well, we'll power through and then take questions at the end. So with that, I'll hand it over to Dr. Allison Moore.
Good morning again. I'll try to not take so long. My head is spinning, and I know a lot of this. I don't know all of it, but I know a lot of it. So I know our guests are just overwhelmed by the amount of information we're sharing. But as you can tell, we're very, very proud of the work we've done. We're proud of the history that we're built on, and we're proud of where we're going. So right now, I am the department chair of Business, Computer Science, and Related Technologies. I wear a lot of hats, but I'm also chair of chairs. All right, so the chairs are working hard. We're working on a lot of new curriculum in collaboration with Guided Pathways. We're working on cleaning out our curriculum. Right, the Guided Pathways folks are working us hard, but they're a great team, and we're responding. So we're going through and we are creating new curriculum. We're looking at curriculum that's been around that may be past its prime. We're having those courageous conversations. It's hard when you tell faculty we need to eliminate a program because we need to make room for some of the new programs. But some of the things that we're working on, computer science is huge. It's huge. It's where a lot of growth is. It's in my area. But that's not the reason I'm focusing on it. But that's where the growth is. That's where living wages can be quickly attained. There is a lot of opportunity for dual enrollment, 2+2+2 programs. So we're working on all of those. Right now, we have a lot of collaborations. We're working on one now with Apple. So Apple has come to us. We're working with Apple. We're working on Microsoft Artificial Intelligence. We have an Amazon cloud computing program. So we are bringing all those into the curriculum as we speak. We are starting to offer those. We're starting with our high school students and encouraging them. And in fact, the Apple collaboration is very exciting because it is a collaboration between our non-credit program, our credit program, and one of our high school partners. So we have managed to bring all of our groups together and provide a bridge all the way through the system. We're trying to make sure as we develop these programs that there are guided pathways, so very intentional, that our students can walk through. You heard about the virtual tour, you've heard about the guided pathways. We're all working together to make sure that when you come on campus, you know how to get through. Right. And one of the things the chairs are going to be working on, we're working on a 2-year schedule. That's been big for us because we want our students to know when you get to Southwest, you can complete in 2 years. And this is how you do it. This is your schedule, not to take out the counselors, because we still need them to see counselors, but we need to develop a path. And you know, our students, you've heard a lot about our students. Our students bring a lot of extra baggage. I pause because I'm in awe of our students. I am completely in awe because they come, they have children. You've heard, right? They have children, they have food insecurity, they have housing insecurity, and yet they are at school. They are hanging in there to the best of their ability. So while we lost a lot of students to the EW process in the spring, a lot of times they dropped a class. They didn't drop us altogether. They stayed in there. And so as a college, we are trying our best to be responsive. One of the things we struggle with is turning into a social services agency. We're not a social services agency. We have limited resources, but we are developing partnerships to make sure that our students are taken care of. I talked about the BIT team. You heard about some other initiatives. You asked about our foster care students. I don't know if you know this, but in LA County, right at Southwest College, that is the highest percentage of foster care children in the entire county is our service area. And we don't have a lot of students, right? We have 150, which is quite a few, but they're out there and they need us. They just need help getting to us. And we need to make sure they know that we have the resources. We have the Guardian Scholars Program, and we have the Next Up programs, 2 programs that specifically support our foster students. What else? We have Careers for a Cause, which is a collaboration with Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas, and that is a curriculum in our non-credit program that develops people to work with the homeless population. Because again, one of the things I think that might have been missed is as our community gentrifies, Dr. Juan talked about it turning to Hispanic, but now it's a beautiful thing that the stadium is coming to Inglewood and that SpaceX is in our backyard. But guess what? It pushes our students out. If you have the housing in our area has gone from middle-class affordable housing to houses that cost $600,000 and $700,000 with the rents, you know, the same, you know, or comparatively. So we have to develop ways to get students quickly into employment. We also have Higher LAX, which has been really successful. Higher LAX is a pre-apprenticeship program that teaches students how to work in construction, because there's a lot of construction, and they immediately go to work at LAX. Some other things we're working on, well, let me keep going, because as I told Dr. Juan, I'm a professor and you give us the mic and I will talk for a very long time. So let me just move on. Our facilities is transforming. Someone said earlier how that we have a new campus. And here's three things. The new School of Science opened in the fall of 2019. We're finally getting a separate student union. But let me say, I have been at Southwest for 18 years plus. And in 18 years that I've been there, it is a new campus. When I got there, the bungalows were still there. I saw the bungalows come down. Now, unfortunately, we brought some back, and now Bright Star lives in those bungalows, but that's an area of growth, right? We brought the bungalows in temporarily, but in the meantime, there was need, so they're still there. Our nursing department has, I think I don't want to misstate, but I think the last testing cycle, they had 100% pass rate, yay. And we've invested a lot of money recently. We just had a $2.1 million investment in nursing technology. So we are the first community college in the country to use virtual reality glasses to teach healthcare, which is amazing and so necessary, because one of the things we're struggling with right now during COVID is getting our nursing students into the hospitals so they can practice. So this gives us an opportunity to continue to move our students on. So what are we doing? Our integrated planning efforts, strategic educational master planning. We're working diligently on developing a new strategic educational master plan. We recently submitted a IEPI request for support, and we're hoping to be funded. We need help with our integrated planning, HR restructuring analysis. We're understaffed. We are understaffed. In our college, one person does everything, right? So, and as you saw from the initial screen that Dr. Awan shared of those of us on the call today, we all had multiple titles. So we're looking at how we do things and how we can be more efficient, but we need to make sure that we are set up in a way that if I am sick one day, the students that depend on my position are continued to be served. And that's been a challenge, right? If our veterans counselor is out, there is no one to step in and help that student that day. Our foundation is working to increase its support of the college and become more effective. We're working on professional development because, as you've heard, we have a lot of different competing priorities. So we need to figure out how do we address those priorities and move the college forward. We have a task force called the Fiscal Recovery and Long-Term Sustainability Task Force. It was created based on a report that was done for the college to help us become fiscally solvent over the long term. That's been a struggle for us. It has been a struggle, and the college wants to own its part of the struggle. So over the summer, we developed a task force. We created a comprehensive work plan, and we spent the entire summer. The work plan was developed by a task force that included administrators, faculty, staff from across the campus. And what you see on the screen is our change theory. And I won't go into all the details. You can read it, and you will have the presentation later so you can look at it. But we spent a lot of time on this. The star represents this North Star because that's where we're looking. The cougar, we're a cougar. So there's a cougar with her babies, because we're a family, and we know that our students come to us, they are families. So we don't just serve the student that's in the classroom, we serve the entire family. So we created the task force to address how to create sustainable change at LASC and provide a strong foundation for fiscal stability and growth. This is not just another initiative. This is how do we transform who we are and what we do in the midst of continuous change. We want to transform the college in such a way so that when changes come and challenges come, and they will, right? That's our system, that we're ready. So, and it's just important because we serve this community. As Dr. Wan said, we are the only community college in South LA. Our students need us, they depend on us. It is such a big deal for our students to come to Southwest in the first place. And sometimes we have to push them out of the door, right? They'll stay and they'll get degree after degree until we say, we love you and we're always going to be here for you, but you have to take the next step. And I understand, because it was so hard for them to even come through the door. At some point, our students have heard that they're not worthy, or they heard that they're not college students. And so I think Robert said, we consider ourselves a HBCU or HSI, because we intend to wrap our students up and do everything they need to support them and get them to the next level. So we have put a campus call to action. We're putting a call to action to our board. Thank you, Board President Hoffman, for being here. Thank you to the Board of Governors for supporting us. I know Dr. Rodriguez is gone, but I want to thank everybody and let you know we're not shy. we'll be calling for assistance. So thank you all very much. And Dr. Awan, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Allison. So thank you all so much. That's pretty much our presentation today. I know we gave you a lot of content. We tried to be responsive to the requests that you had for us. I hope that walking away from this presentation, number one, hope we set the bar high, because of course we're the first and we like to be the best. So we are a little bit of competitive. We want to come out on top, but you know, I hope that you can see that we care very deeply about the students we serve. We know who they are. We know the struggles that they face, and we feel their struggles on a personal level, and we're very committed to that. You know, as Allison has shared, you know, 18 years, we have faculty who have been at this college longer than I've been alive. Like, I'll just tell you that much. Like, they have been at this college for 50 years. And it's just amazing the commitment that they have to our students and our community. We continue to be very responsive and an invested partner, a vested community partner. We have partnerships with so many large companies and small companies, with our legislators who continue to come to us and ask for solutions to community problems that impact not only our students, but our community. And we take the responsibility of our students very seriously, and that we don't just uplift our students, we uplift their families and our communities, and are directly impacting the systematic racism that's embedded very deeply in an institutional level throughout many different institutions within our country. And so we take that responsibility very seriously. At the end of the day, people come to Southwest, our team comes to Southwest because they genuinely care. They genuinely want to make a difference. And that they put the time and the effort in. You've heard today, we are very busy, and we will continue to be very busy. If anything, we are continuing to take on initiatives and tasks to make our college the greatest college. Our vision and mission to be the, you know, #1 transfer school for people of color in the country, you know, and we're going to continue to work on that goal because our students deserve that and more. So again, thank you for your time today. I will stop talking so that you guys can have a chance to ask any more questions that you have. And again, thank you so much.
Dr. Awan, could I just jump in for a moment? I just want to say on behalf of the Chancellor's Office, thank you so much to you and your team and the LACCD team for this incredible presentation here today. We're so impressed. We continue to be impressed with the amazing work you all are doing, especially given the conditions that we're under right now. But I would be remiss if I did not thank our board member, Hildy Aguinaldo, who was the one who reached out about setting these tours up and took the initiative to invite fellow members of the Board of Governors. So special thanks to Board Member Aguinaldo and to all the members of the Board of Governors who took the time to be here today. President Epstein, our board president, wanted to be here, but as you all are probably aware, I'm sure it's affected some of you personally, there's all sorts of these preemptive power shutoffs going on because of the heavy winds we're getting everywhere throughout California. We're getting them up here in Sacramento too. But thank you so much to all of you and to Board Member Aguinaldo and the rest of the Board of Governors.
And we did record our presentation today. We'd be happy to send the presentation and the recording over so you could share that with any board members who are unable to make it.
We appreciate that. And in fact, I think we'd be interested in sharing, if we could, the format and the template that you used with other colleges that we may want to visit virtually as well.
I want to say thank you, Dr. Awan, to you and everybody for just a really excellent presentation. And both the facts came through, but remarkably at a virtual level, your caring and your commitment to your students and the community, it came through in every presentation, and not an easy thing to do virtually, but we could really feel how deeply committed and embedded and you are to the students and to the community you serve, and for making it, the pathway to education, which is so vital, an easy and successful pathway for the students. So congratulations to you, and thank you for continuing with such good spirits during this upside down time. Not an easy time to be doing anything, let alone serving the profound needs of the students that you do and helping to provide them with a pathway to a successful career. So much appreciated, and thank you, Hildy. We're slipping into first name basis with BOG and everybody else. That's one of the silver linings, I think, of of COVID, or should I say, board member Aguinaldo. Thank you for setting this up. So really, really appreciate your taking the time to do this for us. It really gave us a wonderful window into what you do.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the Board of Governors for choosing Southwest College to come and visit virtually. And thank you to the Chancellor's Office and Dr. Awan and your team. Excellent job. I was just going to pop in and make a few introductory remarks. And of course, I wound up staying. We do deeply care about the students in this community. And I'm just thrilled that you were able to join us here today and that the virtual tour went really well. And again, I would like to offer the invitation and extend it when safe to do so, because you really need to be on this campus. I just really quickly, when the presidential race first started, Kamala Harris was campaigning and she chose Southwest College, and Dr. Awan and I had a big responsibility of greeting her, and we managed to mess that one up. But what I heard when people were leaving the gym was, wow, I did not know this little gem existed, and what an incredible place. And so we really do need to hopefully open back up as soon as possible, because it really is a gem of a college, and I would love for you all to come and see it. So thank you.
Just a quick note to say thank you very much for having us. You guys repeatedly mentioned that you were busy, and it was not to passively aggressively kick us out of the room, but just to convey how much work you guys are doing. So we appreciate you taking such 2 hours of your busy day to host us here. Not only did you convey the passion and everything that Board Member Perry or Jennifer says, but you guys are just full of heart. And not only is the passion coming through, but the fact that you guys care so deeply, and also gave us so much to think about. You mentioned that you are an HBCU, that you think of yourselves as an HSI, and that is giving me another lens to look at your work and all the work of our community colleges. So thank you very much for inspiring us and for continuing to encourage us to push the envelope, as I know you're doing that for yourself every day. So thank you.
Yes, I just like to echo the comments of my fellow board members. As much as I like to pick on my fellow students for the many differences of NorCal and SoCal, like the fact that I probably wouldn't have to be wearing a hoodie and the warmest clothes I possibly could be wearing right now in Southern California. The students in my hometown of Stockton and the students that you serve share many similarities in their struggles. Because of this pandemic, those struggles have been exacerbated. And it sounds like, and I know now that at Southwest College, you guys are really attentive to that, and you're making sure to include the student perspective in every decision that you're making, even though those decisions have to be made rapidly. And that's really important. When we think about the purpose of our institutions in the California community colleges, it always comes back to students. We are here to serve the students. So I'm very, very glad, like I said before, that Southwest College is in such great hands. And thank you so much for hosting us. You set a tough bar to follow up on, and I'm really excited to continue watching Southwest College and to see the great things in your future.
Thank you all so much for your time today. We truly, truly appreciate it. We'll see how the other colleges can compete with us in our presentation. presentation, but we're happy that we set the bar high. So thank you for your positive feedback. And please know, when it's safe to do so, as Trustee Hoffman shared, we would love to have you on campus. We're working on our virtual tour that's formal. We'll share that video with you. I know our pictures are often in the Chancellor's newsletter, so we're always happy to see our students, getting some recognition in those newsletters. But please know, if you ever need a space to have events, to have meetings when you're in Los Angeles, please know that our home is your home, and we would love to host you in person when the opportunity arises. And thank you so much again for your time today. All right. Thank you, guys. Take care and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Great work, team. You guys did it. Awesome. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Juan. Thanks again.
Thank you, Dr. Juan.